Hello everybody, it's MicheleMarieDalene, and today we have a topic that I kind of brought up in a video yesterday, and it has to do with camera lenses. And I've got several of these lenses. Let's sort them from shittiest. Actually, as far as I'm concerned, the shittiest is this one, to better to the most ridiculous. Now what this here is, let's go through this. Why I call this the shittiest. This is a CCTV camera lens, and as you can see, it has a couple of major issues. One, I don't know if that's plastic or polycarbonate, but I don't really think that's necessarily a glass lens. So the price I paid for this, don't count on it. It's supposed to go from approximately 3 millimeters to about, actually 3.5 to about, how to say, yeah, 3.5 to 8 millimeters. It's not the greatest. It's certainly not the great. One of the worst things is when it's not what they call a zoom. It's called a Vari-focal, which is that, unfortunately, you can't zoom the picture. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. This lens here is a 6 millimeter. It's a fixed focal length lens. It has a variable focus. It has no iris control. In other words, it's open all the ways it's ever going to be. Okay? Can't change it. Can't make it bigger. Anything. Whereas this does have that adjustable iris. I guess that could be an advantage for some people, but this is really not my favorite lens at all. These two lenses are technically rated for generic security cameras, and the next lenses are not. These are definitely for professional studio cameras, and this one comes from a 16 millimeter Bell & Howell movie camera. I don't know if I can see the specifications, who makes it. It's got a very fine thread on it. You probably can barely read it. It's basically, it is a, let's see, I'll get upside down. Yeah, this is a 0.7 inch. So this is a little bit less than, well, you can convert it between metric and, this is more like maybe about 20 millimeter. This is, as I said, it's designed for a studio camera, a movie camera. It has variable aperture. You can see it steps down to f/22. It has focus, and it has an adapter on the back here to adapt it for security camera. This is the one that we usually use in our studio. The adapter ring is removable, in which the case you can mount it on your standard 16 millimeter C-mount camera adapter, so you can use it with your old security, your old movie cameras, and some older half-inch pickup tubes. This beast is a real zoom. Again, this is a TV zoom lens. This is made by Sony. Look how big this guy is. This guy is a zoom lens in every way possible. Maybe a bit hard to see how wide it is. It says it's a 20 to 80 millimeter zoom, and it says a Sony TV zoom lens. Again, it's designed for C-mount. We have a CS mount adapter ring on it to do the same things, to work with my standard CCD camera, which is actually a security camera. You can see that the lens has it's a Vari-focal function. Very neat. I don't know if I can actually put it on this lens here, this camera. Let's see if I can make this camera do something here. Maybe not. kind of playing around with the camera here, but you might not be able to see the effect. But it does do exactly what you would expect the zoom to do. It's extremely heavy, which means to use this thing with many of the cheap cameras today, unless the camera barrel has got real honest-to-God's aluminum frame, this lens is going to probably break your lens mount. Snap it right off because it is not plastic. So if this screw and end cap was actually camera base and you happen to have it on, it's going to destroy the threads. So, and just like on my Pentax K1000, it would be best to support the camera with this lens. This ring, when I got this lens, it did not have this, but I just happened to find a thumb screw for a DB25 connector that happened to fit. And does the same job as the original does to zoom in and out.
Nice.
Like that.
Come on, Pink.
And of course I have another gentleman over here as well.
Come on, Pink.
So, of this camera here, this 0.7 millimeter, or 0.7 inch. And this is a 6. Now, this definitely has different focal range. This camera lens has overall is a pretty good lens, but the problem with this one is we don't know if it's glass again or if it's plastic. It feels kind of hefty, so it may be glass. Whereas this one, given for what supposedly is supposed to be the number of optics in it, feels like crap. If I take this camera lens, I'm going to try to see if I can stick it on my camera here. I could technically do special effects with it with this iPhone, but not really that well. Anyway, this camera lens is also, these CCTV camera lenses unfortunately have one feature that I sorely lack and miss. That is, they don't have filter rings. You cannot easily attach filters to these lenses. So polarizers and special effects filters will not fit unless it's a kind of ring that can slip over the lens barrel. In that case, you have another problem, and that is that this lens here is hard to get a filter ring that's going to be the same consistent outer diameter sizes for these two lenses. So, pick your poison, guys. For everyday usage, if you just want to use it to watch things, like maybe if you're using it as a point and shoot, yeah, okay, this will cut it. This one's a pain in the ass to set up. I can tell you that because you have two controls to mess with, and it's not a true zoom, so really pain in the ass with. This lens I like because it is a fixed focal length, but it has an honest-to-God real aperture ring, plus it's got a real focus control on it, and it works fine on Beltline movie camera as well. This lens here is a zoom of the true size, and it is huge. This guy goes way big. Zooms in and out. But unless your camera has got a really good, strong lens mount, especially most plastic security camera bodies don't, it's going to rip it right out. So this is because it's so heavy. But if your camera's like my CP234, which is a NTSC camera, unfortunately, or even the PAL camera we have now, has a fairly solid lens board. This guy ain't going to fall off easily. So this is a great solution. If your camera has a direct support for C-mount without the ring, the CP234 comes to mind. You can forego the ring completely, but my PAL camera doesn't, so I need this ring adapter, this step-up ring. So, okay. So that's it for the lenses. And by the way, coming up in the next few days, I'm going to answer a few more questions for you to go. But let me answer a few things for you. If you're starting out with CCTV cameras, or you're starting up using YouTube on one of these cameras, you probably might be asking yourself is, which camera lenses would I suggest? Well, that depends on your budget, but I would think that most of them come with this. This is a standard generic 6mm with a Phillips set screw for locking the focus. This might be fine if you got the camera in automatic exposure and white balance. And so that's what I would do, is use this lens for getting started. 6mm. That's equivalent to about a 50mm and 35mm film, still cameras. So this is what they call a normal lens. Not bad. It's not great. At least I got a good clear picture on it. This camera sounds like a great deal if you see these things on eBay, but seriously, I don't know anything about the optic quality. I know it feels very lightweight. It doesn't. It's not a zoom, so you can't just when we set the focus wide or telephoto and just zoom it back and forth. That don't work that way. This, if you got an older C-mount camera, this might be a good way to go. Now, please understand that the C-mount camera lenses at a 0.7mm was the equivalent of wide angle on 16mm, and on 8mm film would be considered a telephoto. So obviously this would be more of a telephoto in your 1/3 inch or 8mm sensor. So, and for those guys who just gotta have the best of it all, this is the bad boy for you. Unfortunately, it's got its problems in the sense it's got weight behind it. It goes from 20 to 80mm. It's a very fast lens. It goes up to 1.2.5. 1:2.5. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I do know what f1.2.5 is, because you can look on the barrel down here. Here where the F rings are, and you see it goes to 2.5 right there. That's wide open. You can see the barrel there. That is wide open. I have to see the lens cap off, but trust me, it's wide open. So now, why do I use PAL versus NTSC for everyday videos very quickly? Is because I get 576 versus 480 lines of resolution. I get, so it's more of a square picture, and it also gives me more resolving power, because one of the things about standard definition is it's already hard enough to get a good decent picture, and NTSC is crap. Okay, this is being shot in 640 by 480. This is NTSC resolution. But we're going to upconvert it into PAL so we can put it into our film editor. Mm-hmm. So, why not use the best camera and the best lens for you to get the best look? It's up to you. Buy the things that you like. Buy the ones that work for you. Oh yeah, well these all work with HDTV compatible cameras. Sure, I don't see why not. I mean, this one here, despite its age, it's got a lot of resolving power for a lens that was made in the 30s. This is a really old lens. This was made in the 1930s, and it's got a lot of resolving power. This was made in the 1970s. It's certainly better in quality of optics, but it's also, of course, is a very complicated lens because it is a zoom lens in the true sense of the word. Even this little fixed aperture focusable 6mm lens, well, it's not cutting edge, will work fine in with cameras with high definition optics. So yes, you can have the best of all worlds. This thing, you know, focus on this is a real pain to do, and I don't really like it as much, and I can't tell if that's real glass in that lens or if that's polycarbonate plastic, so I can't really tell. It doesn't feel like glass, it doesn't feel cold like glass, it doesn't have If it's glass, it may not be really good quality glass. But it's your choice, okay? So, wish you luck with your research, guys. I hope this helps you out finding what you can do with old CCTV cameras or even old TV cameras from the 70s. Just make sure, especially if you're using the old Vidicom pickup tube cameras, to be careful not to let them get in the bright sun and blind the sensor, because it will destroy the Vidicom tube. And same thing for Sadicon tubes and other things. Older cameras had some great things, but make sure if you can is pick the better ones, and hope avoid getting yourself the screwy ones. But for now, that's enough for now. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.